Welcome to Omni Tales.
Chapter 3, Arcane Force, Part 1 of 4. Rules are the backbone of any society, whether they be to keep one safe, well-fed, and provided for, or to maintain the cycle. These rules become especially vital when their consequences ripple outward, threatening the entire world's demise. There are many cycles within any given system. One natural cycle is the eternal dance between creation and decay, a balancing force that prevents life from consuming all and death from reverting the plane to its former state. The battle older than time itself. This paradox of growth through death and death through life is the reason why nature does not spiral into chaos. Whether one likes it or not, a proper balance between innumerable species is essential to form a cycle that supports every individual life and desires on the belt of life. These cycles are the silent law that governs existence, a perpetual exchange that births stability, ensuring that all life grows with the promise of eventually perishing. This isn't a cycle that can or should be overthrown, for the balance within chaos is the reason the belt of life exists. Inspired by this sacred wisdom bestowed by an ancient mystica, the wanderers of the First Era created their own cycles. One such construct placed metaphorical walls around species and societies, designed not to divide but to restrain overgrowth, prevent domination, and keep the great wheel of civilization turning for all, with wanderers at its epicenter, of course. Another cycle was conceived to establish safe zones, pockets of land untouched by mystics' wild temperament and the elemental chaos they often bring. Within these havens, both Mystica and Wanderers could travel without bloodshed under the protective veil of balance, because not all mystics coexist peacefully. Just as fire and ice repel one another, bringing two opposing Mystica into proximity risks a violent clash. One would perish, igniting a war that could eradicate an entire element from Wanderlust. Worse still, should a single Mystica multiply unchecked, the region would become an uninhabitable wasteland, a blistering inferno, or a frigid, frozen tomb. Harmony is but a fickle word that we have created to justify the cycles we ourselves have broken. Safe zones are not merely neutral grounds, they are pressure valves that contain chaos, preserve peace, and enforce distance where proximity would mean destruction. These deliberate absences and gaps have held the balance since the end of the Third Era, preventing accidental encounters and maintaining a forced, ever-fragile peace. The arcane force is charged with preserving these cycles. They legislate, imprison, investigate, and most critically, anticipate. Whether it's a rogue Mystica threatening the elemental balance, or a new wanderer race emerging from uncharted lands, their role is to ensure that no single variable unravels the threads of wanderlust. Each department within the arcane force specializes in one of these cycles, and those governing the most delicate of balances rise to the highest ranks in the hierarchy. In a sense, this structure reflects a broader truth. Authority shifts to those whose voices resonate with the weight of the moment, because in the land of myths, governed by mysteries and solved by chance, every voice must be heard, delusional though they might sound. Any voice could be the one to uncover a buried truth, or sound the warning cry before a mystic Armageddon. So, a sentinel can outrank a queen, and a commoner can outrank a sentinel. Of course, such claims are challenged, first publicly, then formally at the Equinox Tribunal. And suppose the claimant fails to provide satisfactory evidence. In that case, they lose a significant portion of their star ranking and face either community time or prison time, depending on the resources wasted and the harm done to the cycle as a whole. But if they're right, then, depending on how many officials oppose the claim and the disparity in ranks, that individual earns a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, the chance to ascend as the highest-ranking figure in their kingdom, be that the queen who writes the rules or the king who enforces them, a small price to save wanderity from the claws of extinction. The Sentinel is a unique post within the arcane force, which only came into existence when Wanderers started claiming Wanderlust. Tasked with safeguarding the fragile balance between Mystica and Wanderer, the Sentinel department mediates any disturbance or harm by either side. Not that they possess strong enough Onyxes to discipline a Mystica directly, but they have other, more clever means, such as wards, veils, sanctions, and isolations to protect the innocent while neutralizing the threat. Since the Arcane Forces formation at the end of the Second Era, the Sentinel title has steadily climbed the chain of authority. Now, in certain circumstances, the acting Sentinel can even override the Queen's order without prior approval, a privilege not without peril. Mr. Hemlock is one such example, a tale told across 4 kingdoms, a walking warning used by the Chief of Sentinels to discipline and humble fresh recruits.
Just because you can, doesn't mean you should,
said Chief Retterford.
You know, Lyra just...
I know, we know, everyone knows.
Lyra interrupted him again mid-sentence.
But I didn't finish my sentence yet,
Retterford hissed. Lyra stepped back, her eyes narrowing at the hiss, which was subtle but telling. Normal Wanderers recognize a member of the Dreadmorn race by their sharp S sounds, a side effect of their slightly elongated front teeth, which shift the tongue's placement and alter their speech. Lyra took the spoken language a bit further by analyzing the depth, time, and individual habits of a Wanderer to unlock their heart's deepest desires. A usual hiss isn't normal if it keeps the abdominal muscles loose and brows furrowed. On the other hand, Hemlock preferred to provoke Wanderers, which should be near impossible given a Dreadmorn's cold-blooded nature, yet he found it simpler and personally much easier.
Everyone has a trigger, even me,
Hem always said. This technique was impossible for most Wanderers except for those quick and impossible candidates, such as Lyra Hurt and Simon Baker. Lyra had a gift. She could dissect a sentence, analyze tone, peel back the context and cadence to expose precisely what someone meant and why they meant it in that way. Her real talent of connecting with anyone had the potential to irk even Hemlock. Lyra's talents helped her build a stunning profile, bagging a few serial killers and crossing Hem's star ranking. Add to that her hypnotic beauty, a presence that bypassed mental defenses, and a rare blend of onyxes that let her tap into nearly any aura, and she became someone you couldn't help but trust. Or fear. She had a way of making your darkest secrets feel like a burden you wanted to share. And to be honest, everyone had more stars than Hem, thanks to his little tiffs with the Queen, which, if you ask Hem, are his greatest accomplishment. Hem stopped saying,
pick a fight with Aurochs to prove your stance,
since a few dumb Wanderers took it literally. One of Lyra's most significant accomplishments was convincing a hardened criminal not only to confess to his crimes, but to heal and turn a new leaf. That criminal later joined a rehabilitation program, seeking redemption instead of ruin. Like many races across Wanderlust, the Dreadmorn had a limited ability to connect with the most common, Mystica. However, they wielded extraordinary control over mystics that mirrored the essence, or the origin of their patron Mystica, the very being responsible for shaping what they had become. That's why Lyra took a wary step back. She wasn't sure if her Mystica, or any of the onyxes on her person, were triggering Retterford's sudden agitation. And while she had mastered the art of seduction, empathy, and the delicate language of repressed emotion, she still struggled with one truth. Some darkness wears no mask. This blind spot, her stubborn faith in people's capability to change, kept her firmly in the 3rd Sentinel rank among the 4 kingdoms, with Hem and Simon Baker alternating the top 2 positions, and Lyra never coming close. But if this ranking were based on stars, she would have been at the top, with Simon and Hem fighting for the bottom-most position. This wasn't to say she wasn't talented, but rather a testament to her ideals. As Mrs. Ford, Mr. Retterford's wife and secretary, so bluntly put it,
She's just not mature enough.
most dismiss a diva's biting words, but in this case, Lyra had truly misjudged Retterford. A proud dreadmorn, first of his kind, once bartered their very souls to the forbidden Crimson Fae, trading mortality for salvation. That sacrifice granted the dreadmorn race longevity at a cost. Retterford had outlived friends, foes, fashions and jokes, and while most chuckled at the dreadmorn's infamous hiss, he had grown tired of it. He hated how his tongue fluttered between his fangs every time emotion slipped past his cold composure, and after more than an era, he still couldn't control it. Then again, what could a dreadmorn do? They couldn't silence emotion like the historians, while they depended on their fangs for survival. Remove them, and a dreadmorn would wither in a week. Well, maybe Retterford would last longer, burning through stored fat and residual energy, but without nourishment, even he wouldn't survive forever.
Twist it however you want.
Lyra said softly, shifting his irritation like wind pushing smoke.
You always end with the same sentence.
And it worked. Retterford felt the emotion slide from her onto him, redirected, displaced, manipulated.
This isn't right.
He told himself, trying to reclaim the flickering feeling. His pale complexion dimmed, a quiet echo of his struggle to hold on.
Make sure to please the almighty algorithm on your way out, and that shall notify you on the next chapter's release. See ya in the next one.